So I live in Los Angeles, California, and the cost of real estate is pretty insane out here. I go to other cities around the country, other states, and I see how less expensive the real estate is in these different cities, and it just blows my mind how few people are homeowners. Even if you don't live in it yourself, don't own real estate as an investment. In a lot of these cities, it's cheaper to own than it is to rent, which means that you can buy a piece of property, have a mortgage at, I'm gonna make up a number, $900 per month, and rent it out for $1,500 a month all day. I know that's true because I have one of those. So why aren't we doing that more often? Why aren't we valuing this opportunity? I don't know, but I'll tell you a few advantages to owning real estate. One, there's a lot of tax advantages. You can have a lot more write-offs as a homeowner than you will as a renter, but you'll have even more write-offs as an investor than you will as just a homeowner. So you get a lot of tax benefits, a lot of tax breaks from owning real estate. Two, you get to lock in your cost of housing. So this may not be the case all over the country, but I know in the major cities, housing costs is steadily rising, right? We look at here on the West Coast in Los Angeles, the cost to rent goes up every single year. It is so much more expensive to rent an apartment today than it was just 5 years ago. And I think that's going to continue to be the case. If we go ahead and buy something today, now, whatever that mortgage is, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a month, whatever it is, will always be the cost of that housing for as long as you own that piece of property. And eventually, that mortgage will be paid off, and the only thing you have to pay is going to be taxes and insurance. So really, at a certain point, your cost of housing can even decrease once you become a real estate owner or a homeowner. And what was the last reason? Oh, and thirdly, you get to build some equity. Great thing about real estate is you're going to build equity just from paying your mortgage, and you're going to build equity potentially from appreciation. Nationwide, property appreciates 3 to 5% per year on average over a long period of time, right? That means a piece of property will double in 20 years. But in certain areas, it appreciates much faster. I mean, it'll double in 5 years or 10 years. So, which means that if you buy a piece of property, you just pay your mortgage. Buy a piece of property, put a renter in that pays your mortgage. Over time, you'll have more and more equity that you can do something with, that you can leverage to have greater security or greater lifestyle. You can sell that home, take it to equity, and buy a nicer home. One thing that you'll see here in LA is these really, really expensive houses and neighborhoods. You wonder, how do people afford that? How do people afford, Where's my water? You ask yourself, how do people afford that? How do people afford these $700,000, $900,000, $2 million pieces of property? Most of them aren't coming up with this down payment out of their savings. Most of these people are taking equity from a previous piece of ownership, whether it be their parents' home, grandparents' home that was left to them, or their first home, or their starter home. That's why that term exists, starter home. It's the first home you get into and build some equity into. Then you get to save some money, and then take that equity, combine those two numbers, and buy something bigger, something nicer, something more spacious. So, I don't know if it's not a priority, but if it's not, make it a priority to be a homeowner. If it is a priority, and the issue is you just can't afford it, that's a different topic, right? We'll do another video that talks about how really I think everybody can afford a piece of real estate. You just kind of got to have the right strategy, got to have the right team, and be willing to take a little bit of a risk sometimes, which means that, maybe it's not going to be in your neighborhood, maybe it's not going to be in your state. Maybe you have to do it in partnership with somebody, right? But everybody can do it. I believe in you.